Sunlight danced across the coral reef, turning the water into shifting gold and blue. Ollie Octopus floated nearby, watching tiny fish zip between coral branches. Clawdia the lobster clacked her claws softly, while Pearl the oyster rested in a sandy patch. Shelby the hermit crab peeked out, curious about the day ahead. A warm current drifted through the reef, carrying the scent of fresh seaweed and the hum of distant waves. "Feels calm today," said Clawdia, scanning the shimmering water. Ollie twirled slowly in place, enjoying the quiet beauty that seemed to wrap gently around their underwater home. Pearl the oyster opened her shell just enough for sunlight to touch her smooth pearl inside. "I like days like this," she murmured. Shelby shuffled closer, his small legs clicking, eyes wide at the glittering fish weaving in a bright pattern above their reef. Suddenly, sunlight faded as a massive shadow spread across the reef. Ollie froze mid-spin, his skin shifting toward pale sand colors to hide. Claudia's eyes narrowed as she whispered, "That's big." The water felt cooler, and the fish darted quickly into hiding. Shelby backed into his shell so fast that small clouds of sand puffed around him. "Is it a monster?" he asked, voice trembling. Pearl snapped her shell shut, her heart thumping in the dark space inside as the shadow loomed overhead. Ollie swam upward a little, straining to see through the wavering light. "I can't tell," he said, curling his arms in readiness. The shadow drifted slowly, moving with a smooth glide that made the water swirl gently around them. Clawdia slipped behind a rock, her antenna twitching nervously. "It's getting closer," she warned in a low voice. Shelby stayed perfectly still, hoping the shadow would pass without noticing him. The reef seemed to hold its breath as the shape approached. Ollie shifted his colors again, blending with coral, then fading into sand tones. "I'm going to see what it is," he said firmly. Pearl gasped from her sandy patch. "Are you sure?" she asked, her voice tight with worry. "I'm not letting fear decide," Ollie replied, his gaze fixed on the moving shadow. The current tugged gently at his body as he began to swim upward. "Be careful," Claudia called after him, her claws clicking anxiously against the rock. The water cooled as Ollie rose, the shadow growing larger above him. He counted his breaths, keeping his movements slow and quiet. Below, the reef shrank into a colorful patch, and the hum of the waves grew stronger in his ears. A deep, low sound rolled through the water, steady as a slow heartbeat. Ollie paused, listening closely. "It doesn't sound angry," he thought. The vibration rippled through his arms, curious and calm, rather than frightening. He swam closer, feeling the water's flow change around the enormous shape. It was bigger than any fish he had ever seen. Light shimmered along a dark, smooth surface that moved with gentle, powerful strokes. His shape turned, revealing a wide, gentle eye gazing at Ollie. A soft whoosh of bubbles drifted upward as the giant exhaled. Ollie blinked in surprise, realizing the eye held no threat, only calm curiosity. "It's a whale," Ollie whispered, awe filling his voice. The whale's massive tail waved slowly, sending ripples through the water. Its presence felt peaceful, the once frightening shadow, now warm and steady around him. The whale opened its mouth slightly, releasing a stream of tiny fish unharmed. Ollie realized it was feeding, not hunting. "Hello down there!" The whale's deep voice seemed to rumble kindly, carrying through the water like a friendly drumbeat. Ollie waved an arm in greeting, a smile blooming inside him. The whale dipped its head in a slow bow. The shadow that had frightened the reef now felt like a calm, protective blanket overhead. Far below, Clawdia peeked from behind her rock. "Is it safe?" she called. Ollie's voice rang back through the water. "Yes, come see." His arms waved in an eager signal toward the reef. Shelby crawled forward cautiously, eyes locked on the giant above. Pearl slowly opened her shell again, letting in the light. The reef shimmered as the whale's gentle bulk shifted closer, casting a softer shadow. "Ooh, Ouchuras." The whale's calm presence filled the water as the friends swam upward together. Clawdia clacked her claws in excitement. Shelby laughed nervously. "That's no monster." His voice carried a mix of relief and wonder. Pearl gazed at the whale's massive flippers. "You're beautiful," she said softly, her voice barely more than a ripple. The whale's deep eye seemed to smile in return, its tail sending a slow, graceful wave. The whale circled gently, revealing its smooth back and powerful tail. Ollie swam alongside, proud of his choice to investigate. Clawdia marveled aloud. "It's bigger than I imagined," her claws resting quietly at her sides. Shelby released his fear and spun slowly in the water. "I was hiding for nothing," he admitted, with a grin. Pearl nodded from her sandy spot. "We all were," her voice warm with shared relief. The whale drifted upward toward the surface, sunlight streaming around its shape. Ollie waved again, calling, "Safe travels." The whale's tail swept a last, friendly curve before disappearing into the bright water above. Light flooded the reef as the shadow vanished completely. Clawdia sighed with relief, the sound bubbling softly. "That was an adventure," she said, her eyes still bright from the excitement. Shelby tapped his shell thoughtfully. "I guess not every shadow hides danger," he said. Pearl agreed. "Sometimes it hides something wonderful," her pearl catching the sunlight as she spoke. Ollie settled among the coral, his skin shifting to warm, reef tones again. "I'm glad I checked," he said. The others nodded together, the water around them filled with gentle movement. Clawdia grinned at Ollie, her claws open in praise. "You were brave," she said. Ollie replied with a calm smile. "Brave means finding out the truth before being afraid." The friends swam side by side, the reef alive with color and motion again. Pearl hummed softly to herself, while Shelby tucked a shiny pebble into his shell. The water felt peaceful around them. As the sun dipped lower, Ollie gazed toward the open water with calm eyes. Next time a shadow comes, he said, we'll see when it really is. The reef seemed to glow quietly in agreement. Claudia curled into her cozy nook, listening to the whale's gentle song drift through the reef. With her friends nearby, she closed her eyes, feeling safe and calm beneath the silver moonlight.